Hello guys, it is me, the Nostalgic Multiverse, and hold up! Wait a minute. Something ain't right. That is because I have just done Little Owl's intro bit for reactions. Now this was only a bit that he did in one video, but so what? Today we are going to be reacting to Little Owl's Bruno All Engines Go character rewrite. Now, the reason I'm reacting to this is because it was kind of requested by Jack himself. He said it would be awesome if I reacted to it, and I took the opportunity. This time I am doing it very differently though. I am not using OBS whatsoever. I am currently using a phone to record this part where I'm just talking to the camera. And as for the section where the video is going to be, it's being recorded by her. So yeah, that is basically how this thing is going to go. It's a unique type of reaction today. Now, with that out of the way, let's begin this reaction in 3, 2, 1, and play. Oh, well done, Jack. You're a king of comedy.
Bruno, written by Jack Cunningham. Brake fans are burdened with one of the biggest responsibilities on the island. With how notoriously difficult trucks can be, especially on Sodor, a brake fan is an invaluable safety net for the engines on a heavy train. Placing such a large amount of responsibility on them makes them trustworthy friends on the island. All the same, not everyone is capable of handling such pressure, so only certain brake fans are reserved for long trains.
All I can say is you're forgetting about the spiteful asshole of a brake van that we had back in Season 2.
A new brake van had arrived on the island, to which James would have the pleasure of meeting one morning.
Why, hello there. I've never seen a brake van like you around here before.
James's loud voice rattled the newcomer, but he managed to send a glance towards him.
Oh, hello. My name's Bruno. I'm new.
A new brake van, eh? We haven't had one of those for a while, it seems.
They told me I was a special multi-purpose brake van to be used on all types of trains, large and small.
Bruno said with confidence.
Most impressive.
Now, with what I can say, I saw this bit in a sneak preview, and the voice acting is superb, especially the trains work done by Aaron Williams. So, trust me, I already know that this rewrite is gonna get full marks. Another point I'd like to add, I actually did work on this story before as the voice of Edward, but for a different project known as Thomas Reborn. But now I've worked in this as the Troublesome Trucks. Jack said he'd be proud. Jack said I'd be proud of whoever he got to voice Edward. We'll see about that, because trust me, if it is who I think it is, you get full marks.
In any case, would you mind riding with me on this next one?
James asked as the brake fan spoke politely.
I wouldn't mind. I'll certainly do my best, but it may be difficult.
Marvellous.
Oof.
A bit of a harsh bump, don't you think?
James coupled Bruno up to the back of a long mixed goods, as all the while the brake van remained anxiously silent. Just then, the Fat Controller arrived in his car as James began pulling Bruno out of Knapford.
Hello, Bruno. Glad to see you've arrived. Oh, dear.
The Fat Controller watched with concern as James began pulling away with his train and Bruno.
So I'm guessing in this part of the story, Bruno wasn't supposed to be used until the Fat Controller spoke with him. Yikes, yikes, yikes. This story is already going in a bit of a direction. Like, it's It's not bad, but I can see where it's going with this.
I do hope he'll be alright, having not had his briefing. His last owner said he's bound to have teething troubles.
Oh boy.
Meanwhile, James and Bruno were making steady progress along the main line. Bruno was trying to stay focused, but James was in a hurry.
Come along, you little twits. Lateness is not my colour.
Yeah, neither is red.
And the trucks giggled in their silly way.
Oh, you thought that was funny, eh? Well, laugh at this.
James bumped his train roughly, causing the trucks to grunt and groan. Bruno closed his eyes briefly before refocusing at the flating rails beneath him. He began to feel slightly dizzy. The trucks were cross.
Oh, you're getting it now, you red dingbat.
Things are a little different this time, lads. Just ask my new brake van.
New, you say?
Oh boy.
The coal truck at the front configured a plotting expression as he looked back at the spotless orange and yellow paint of the trailing brake van.
We might be able to have some fun with him.
The truck said to himself as James made his way along the main line. Bruno heard the trucks noisily scheming behind him and throughout the journey tried calling out to James. But Bruno found it difficult to speak.
Bruno, that's the third time you've tried talking to me. What's wrong now?
The trucks. They are...
Irritating. Don't worry, you'll gain some thick skin against them in no time.
But Bruno wasn't so sure. Presently,
Now, because of the fact that Bruno is a certain type of character from the realm of All Engines Go, I can actually understand his problems with wanting to speak up. Because it's difficult for people like me to do that sort of thing. So, yeah. And it's probably also kind of for people like her as well. But I couldn't be so sure, could I? Let's just continue.
they reached the dreaded Gordon's Hill.
This is a bit
Okay,
steep,
okay.
isn't it?
No steeper than Licky. I've heard horror stories of that line.
You mean the 3.2 kilometer with a gradient of 1 in 37.7?
Well, I'm sure that is right. How'd you know that?
Bruno's guard chuckled as he called out to James.
Believe me, if it involves numbers and statistics, nothing gets past Bruno. Now, come on, mate. Just keep us steady.
But will do, Alex.
Wait. Excuse me? Excuse me. What the fuck? I was not expecting this. What the hell? What? What? I did not expect that. Oh my god! Oh, thank you, little owl. Thank you so much, mate. Oh man, you've touched me, man. You've touched my heart.
But the trucks had other
man.
ideas.
The usual routine, lads.
The trucks screeched on their brakes as James groaned knowingly.
Very clever. But can you handle this?
Now!
Wait, what? No! Don't do that!
Oh crap.
Oh, for heaven's sake, why does this always have to happen to me?
James lurched forward over the crescent and started sliding, rapidly descending the other side of the hill.
Oh my god. You in trouble now, James?
Bruno! Do something! Anything!
James waited for Bruno to start braking, but unbeknownst to him, Bruno was starting to panic, and his guard found his brakes stiff to apply.
Now, while this is an exciting ride for most people, for someone who would be going through a very dangerous experience at that point, would be terrified. And trust me, I've been through that state of panic. This is written very, very well. Okay, this is where it starts to get truly, truly good. I see how well he is portraying this through Bruno's eyes.
Hi, what's going on? Why are we slowing down?
The front trucks looked back to see a few of them at the back applying their brakes.
What's the game, lads? Are we losing momentum or something? We're stopping this game right now. Why would you do that, you idiots? Come on, mates. Give that new brake van a break.
There's one of my lines.
On a side, it looks like he's really struggling. I know normally I wouldn't care, but I feel kind of bad for this one. Besides, what fun is there if the brake van doesn't fight back?
Good point. Hold back, folks. Nothing to see here.
Very good.
They slid into Kelstrop and stopped.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this. The trucks are recognizing that this new brake van, Bruno, he's not quite the same. So they're doing something about it. They're feeling bad for this specific character. I'm liking this. It's very, very good. Amazing, I must say.
Just overshooting the platform, James was speechless. For now, at least.
Now, from what I can remember in this story, and especially because I've participated in this before for Thomas Reborn, from what I remember, James gets angry with Bruno, unknowing of the condition he has. This is where things get truly serious.
I'd like a word with you.
Oh, here we go. I can see the expression on Bruno's face. I'm not liking
Bruno,
this.
what was that?
I...
The trucks had to do the work for you.
I'm so sorry, James.
Sorry? Sorry? I nearly faced a disastrous derailment, and all you can say is you're sorry?
Bruno felt tears starting to swell in his eyes.
Rest assured, the Fat Controller is going to hear about this.
As indeed he did.
It's my fault, Bruno.
What?
I should have given you your briefing before you were allowed to set off on a train.
But, sir, he's a new brake van. He should be able to handle trains that size in his sleep.
As for you, James, I would greatly appreciate it if next time you consult me before taking out a new brake van.
With all due respect, sir, why are you defending him?
It's out of your concern.
So apparently, me nearly crashing because of this faulty brake van is none of my concern, is it?
That's enough, James.
James went silent as Bruno closed his eyes. Of course,
I can relate to this. As many times I have had to face shouting alongside other students from various teachers, and seeing Bruno close his eyes like this, I can understand that. It brings back way too many memories for me.
The Fat Controller had been angry before, but never had James heard so much passion in one of his controller's reprimands. The air went cold as both Bruno and James awaited the Fat Controller's response. They held their breath, the tremble of frustration evident as the Fat Controller finally spoke.
I shall speak to you later, James.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Shaken and confused, James puffed away slowly. After he left, the Fat Controller turned to Bruno.
Apologies for raising my voice, but these engines sometimes... They mean well, of course, but they are just so thoughtless with their words.
It's alright, sir. I don't mind. I always knew that it was going to be a problem.
No need to be so cryptic. My grandson has autism, and he's only just finding his way. It is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of.
This is where the topic of the video comes in. I like how they're doing this. Positioning this in a way that people, a lot of them, or maybe even children will understand. Sure, this is not meant for kids, it's meant for a general audience. But I can understand why they had to say this. Because this character has autism, and from what I heard from Jack when I went to the Audrey extravaganza, it's as if the showrunners make Bruno's autism his only character trait, when he can have more than that. So let's continue this story and see how it's handled. And if you're wondering why I'm not saying much about what I remember from this story, it's because I don't really remember the entire episode that I had recorded lines for as Edward.
Nobody should ever be made to feel faulty for something that they cannot help. Now I'll give you the rest of the day off, and tomorrow we'll start again.
Yes, sir.
Bruno was placed in a siding near Tidmouth for the rest of the afternoon. As he sat, his eyes never strayed from his buffers. He felt shaken and ashamed after what happened.
I sometimes feel this way as well. Especially if, for example, I've done something wrong or I feel like something's off. I will sometimes be this way as well. So it doesn't stray too far from this.
As the time went on, he heard the slow puffing of an engine backing down next to him.
Here we go.
It was Edward.
Let's see if I approve.
Why, hello there.
10 out of 10. Immediately. I knew that Enterprising Engine 93 was going to be Edward. I fucking knew it. Well done, Jack. You've done very well for this project. Very well done indeed.
Bruno, is it?
Yes, that is correct. You were Edward, the number 2 engine who loosened his bogey wheels, which had landed in a field of cabbages.
Hey, great knowledge. You know, I must admit, I'd nearly forgotten about that.
Me and my guard had a lot of spare time in that workshop. I can remember all 42 Railway Series books, and what order each story is in.
Well, hey, if I'm ever in the need for obscure facts, I now know who I need to go to.
Hopefully not when you need a brake van for a very heavy train.
But Edward did not see the funny side of Bruno's comment.
You know, I heard about what happened earlier, and honestly, I'm a bit cross at James for being so inconsiderate.
Because I'm autistic?
Oh, no, honestly. Any new brake van would find being placed on a train of that size as their first outing
really intimidating. Not to mention that disgusting comment he made afterwards. I wish I was there instead of the fat controller so I could give him a piece of my mind.
I had no idea you were so passionate about it.
There is a reason, Bruno. I have autism myself.
You do?
Well, let's just say it affects me a lot less than you.
Now, this is one part of the story I did remember, and it caught me by surprise. I honestly like this portrayal of Edward Jack is going for. Because that really okay, while there is sort of ways that Edward does portray these sort of traits, I've never really noticed that. To see Jack give such a unique take on Edward, amazing.
Bruno looked down at his buffers once more as Edward continued.
But it still did affect me, especially in my younger years. It was a different time when I was working. Nobody understood what it meant or what it even was. If you'll remember in the first book, I was depicted as being stuck in the shed because the others were bigger and stronger than me. It is true, I was struggling with the work, but not because of my age or even my size. There was honestly just not that much business back then. What it really was how many different responsibilities I found myself with that became too overwhelming. I am a versatile engine, but so many jobs at once became a lot for me mentally. So, I spoke to the fat director about it, and he decided that I should be taken out of regular...
Everything okay? Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that. It's alright. After the reaction, we'll make sure to turn off the AC so that more water doesn't leak out.
Service for a while.
But couldn't you just reduce your responsibilities?
Like I said, lack of understanding for my needs back then, or so I thought. When I was allowed to take trains again, I started with smaller excursions, some banking duties, and my personal favorite, shunting.
Why was shunting your favorite?
I honestly don't know. I just found it very calming. And what's more, I can make a routine out of it. Now, of course, I was oblivious to it back then, but then a few years ago, my driver came to me with a friend who was a psychologist. He analyzed some of my traits, and he gave me a minor diagnosis of autistic spectrum disorder, or ASD.
Bruno.
Now, ASD is also considered to be Asperger's syndrome, high-functioning autism. I have this myself, as back in 2017, I was sort of starting out at secondary school, and my parents had to take me to a psychologist to see, because they could see that I was sort of different from other students, and maybe they could see why I don't get along well with other students. But I'm not quite sure. I can't be sure of this. Don't take it as fact. All I'm saying is that they had to take me to a psychologist because there was something different about me. But then again, I don't believe in different. We're just normal in our own way and right.
Bruno's eyes widened in shock.
Did the others know about this?
Oh, goodness, no. It's not that big of a deal, really. I don't think they'd see me any differently if I did or didn't tell them.
But what have you got to lose by telling them? You've proven many times in the past how useful you are, and with how many times I mess up. I even wonder if I truly deserve to be called a brake van.
Edward smiled.
So, you don't think you're a proper brake van, do you? Well, why don't we put that to the test?
How do you mean?
Come with me.
With Bruno and his guard's consent, Edward coupled up to the brake van and they set off. As they went along the main line, Bruno felt much more at ease.
Again, with the work that's being done through this computer program of trains, absolutely stunning with the scenery, the angles, everything. You really did an excellent job, Aaron. And even more so with Jack, I'm going to say it now. The voice acting that you've gotten for this story alone is enough to say that this is beautiful. This is the most beautiful project I've ever seen. And one which was perfectly crafted as well. Perfectly written. And making sure to understand the characters, giving unique takes to existing characters, and just making sure that it still has the feel of a story that would be read to children.
Without the pressure of managing a heavy train being burdened upon him, he could take in the beautiful atmosphere the main line had to
Actually, not just children. A story that everyone can enjoy, whether they're reading it to their children or reading it for themselves.
offer. Presently, they reached the dreaded Gordon's Hill.
Come on, Bruno. Let's have a run at it together.
I don't know if I can, Edward. I messed up the first time. Who's to say?
Listen to me, Bruno. You got this. Take a deep breath. And keep going!
Suddenly, Edward lurched forward and Bruno yelped as he was being dragged up the gradient.
Now get ready, Bruno. It will be frightening, but it'll all be over soon.
Beautiful. Amazing, with Bruno's point of view as well. Very well done. I love this sequence. The scenery, the shots of the wheels going faster and faster, the shots of Bruno's point of view, and as well as that, the shot with Bruno realizing that he truly does belong. This is a very good story. This should have been what All Engines Go would have been.
Bruno felt a little queasy, but he noticed something.
I'm all right. I made it. I just kept going and I did it.
Looks like you found the objective of the exercise then.
Which was?
Bruno, there are times when life will be scary and it seems like you won't be able to handle it. But those mistakes, they don't define you. You'll learn to cope with them over time.
But my whole life I've always been thought of as someone who needs extra guidance. But if that's not the case, then what am I?
You're so young, Bruno. You will find your place with time. And listen, don't focus on what others see or saw in you, because they will never know the full story. Only you know who you are.
Bruno stopped and thought about Edward's words with a smile on his face. Today, he He had not only found a newfound friend, but a newfound respect for himself.
That is a very good moral to the story. It's brilliant. Because not everyone knows what others can be going through. Not everyone knows the full extent of other people's capabilities, what they've been through. So, this story serves to say that we learn as we grow. I love that about this story. There's no way that I will ever say that this is a bad story. This is the most amazing project I've ever seen and had the pleasure of taking part in.
Edward, can I ask you something?
Of course, Bruno. What is it?
Bruno explained his idea to Edward and his driver, and then Edward's driver spoke to the Fat Controller, and arrangements were put in place. Bruno now works as Edward's dedicated brake van, helping him with goods trains up and down his branch line. He is now friends with everyone, especially James, who took the liberty of apologizing to the brake van for his harsh behavior.
Very good.
Whilst Bruno still finds the work difficult, Edward always remembers to be patient with him.
Hey! You alright back there, Bruno?
I am ready, Edward.
Now, these trucks are troublesome, so I'll need you to keep them in order for me.
Go for it, Edward. I can handle it.
Confidence, huh? I love hearing that from you. Let's rock and roll.
Bruno couldn't be happier, knowing he was now a part of the Fat Controller's railway.
And that is how you write a story with a character like Bruno. Very well done to all of the cast that played a part in this. I was not expecting Enterprising Engine to be Edward, but to see as well the narrator being Liz Productions. Amazing. That was very good as well. Very well done to all the people who took part in this. I'm pleasantly surprised, and well done. Bravo. Bravo. There we go. Originally adapted by Thomas Lawrence. Oh. You know what? Before we end the reaction, I just want to enjoy this final shot before the video ends. I cannot emphasize how happy I am to finally get this passion project out there for you guys. Viewing pleasure. This past year has come with its fair share of challenges, but I had fallen in love with this story too much to not find the motivation to finish it. As those who know me are aware, this is a very personal story to me, not only because I get to write an autistic character, but I myself have tackled with anxiety concerning my identity, not just as a content creator, but as a person. If there is one person out there who does not feel alone after watching this story, then I have done my job. Thank you to everyone who helped me bring this to life, and to all of you for watching. Kind regards, Jack Cunningham. With that, I actually personally thank you, Jack, and for giving me the opportunity to react to this. Because, if I'm being honest, this touches the heart. in every single way possible to say, hey, for those of you out there who are struggling with this, you are not alone in the world. There are many people out there. So, with that, I say the following. Thank you all very much for watching this video here. And thank you all for watching this video, this reaction. I don't know what to say. All I can say is this. Nostalgia never dies. And Jack, keep up the good work with writing these stories. If anyone deserves to be on this platform, and even more so, deserves respect, it's you. Good night, everyone.